loved in 2009 when they won the Stanley Cup, and how big a role his parents played. His father, a big influence in his life. Evgeny Malkin now a new father, you know, himself. He's got a little one. Nikita is his son, just born May 31st.
All right, there is goaltender Matt Murray. He is the hot goaltender of the moment. 14 Stanley Cup wins. A rookie, turned 22 last week, along with Brian Rust. I mean, these guys started the season in Wilkes-Barre, the minor leagues, and now look where they are. I mean, this is a dream come true for any minor leaguer, just to play a part on a team. These guys play starring roles. These fans right now just want to get close to Matt Murray. They're so excited to see him. And I think they're struck like I am. He's such a baby. He's 22 years old. He's so tall and he's so thin. But this guy is a powerhouse in goal. I mean, and he really, really was one of the stars of this playoff run. No, Shannon, he's not that young. We're getting that old. Is that what it is? That's what's happening. Oh, okay, all right. It's all relative. And here's Patrick Hornquist. Came here a couple years ago in an offseason trade. Became a key contributor to this hockey team. Scored some crucial goals during the season. And really has embraced Pittsburgh. That's the thing. These guys, you know, sometimes you get traded a few times in your career. You don't make a place a home. But these guys have really made it home. And here we go. Here is also the HBK line, at least two-thirds of it. Yeah. Carl Hagelin, number 62. You can tell by his hair. Oh, yeah. Carl Hagelin. And there is Phil Kessel. Phil Kessel. What a hero. What a hero on this team. Phil Kessel, as we said, took out a full-page ad in Toronto to say thank you to the fans of Toronto for basically booing him out of town. There's also a story circulating that Phil Kessel, just this week, gave a hot dog vendor in Toronto $50,000 with a note that said, from a secret fan and a Stanley Cup champion. So I wonder who that was from. $50,000. Any truth to the rumor he's buying hot dogs for everybody? I hope so. I hope so. He's so beloved because he doesn't necessarily look like a hockey player. I mean, and you guys have done those stories this year. Oh, my goodness. Chris Letang was asked by Guy Junker, look, does he look like the team's leading scorer? And Chris adamantly said, no, not at all. But that's what makes Phil Kessel just he's an everyday guy. I mean, he fits in. He's a Pittsburgher. Absolutely. He's got that Pittsburgh look, and yet he is one of the best players in the National Hockey League. And finally, after many years in Toronto of struggling, a Stanley Cup champion here in Pittsburgh. Phil Kessel's a guy who wanted to win a championship. Now, you could say that about every player in the NHL, no doubt about it. But he's a player who obviously felt like his past teams did not do what it takes and find that magic in the front office and choosing their players and their rosters and building those rosters. Disappointed, to say the least. And now, look at him. He's here in Pittsburgh, and he's going to be hoisting that Stanley Cup. Well, it legitimizes your career. Right. I mean, there are a lot of players who are great players, but winning that Stanley Cup puts you in a whole nother stratosphere. Right. Sidney Crosby was a great captain, but once he won the Stanley Cup, he became more than that. Sure. That's going to happen to Phil Kessel. You're immortalized. You are. You become, and not just in Pittsburgh, but throughout the National Hockey League, as we continue to see the players. They drive by the main stage, they get off, and they're introduced to the fans as we continue to wait for the guest of honor, Lord Stanley's Cup. The Cup has not been here in 7 years. I mean, it's visited Pittsburgh. In fact, it's even been over at the studios of WTAE. I think I had it on my desk one time. Did you really? I did. It was here, and they had it on my desk, and I was just kind of working, and you know, people walking by, they're like, is that the Stanley Cup? I'm like, yes. I've never had the chance to touch the Stanley Cup or be close to the Stanley Cup. Is it emotional for you? I mean, you are a sports journalist. Yes. You've been covering sports for a long time. But is it exciting? It is. It's emotional because you realize this cup has been touched by so many great people over the years, so many great players. It really does strike you, more so than even the Super Bowl trophy, I think. Oh, my goodness. Here comes General Manager Jim Rutherford. Won a Stanley Cup in Carolina. Kind of thought, you know, he's coming here to kind of, you know, keep things even. Kind of an elder statesman of the team here. You know, he was a goalie during his playing career. Okay. I remember him from his days in Hartford when he was the GM there. Came here, made some shrewd moves that did work, made some moves late this season that did work. And Jim Rutherford, that's why he is up right now for General Manager of the Year in the National Hockey League. And I have to think at the NHL Awards next week in Las Vegas, he's going to bring home that title. And the general manager whose team wins the Stanley Cup is not automatically given those honors. I mean, you really have to prove yourself as GM. Well, he was a finalist. I mean, what he had done up to this point was recognized. And now if you look at it, from the coaching moves to some of the deals he made during the season, the late season additions, Jim Rutherford, you know, he's one of those guys now. He's done with 2 different hockey teams. That's the mark of genius as a general manager. Guy Junker was earlier talking about some of the members of the team. There's Mike Sullivan making his way down.
the winning coach here, the head coach. They mentioned Rick Tocchet. You know, people like Phil Bourque. They're still connected to this team, and they have made a difference in years past when it comes to the Penguins.
And they're embraced by the current Penguins, too. As we look at head coach Mike Sullivan. And Mike Sullivan, I'll tell you, he's a guy who said all the right things. He talked about playing the right way. He talked about staying calm, staying in the moment. I mean, he was the calming influence when things could have gone off the rails when they faced elimination, when there were tough times during the season. And this guy, remember, he started the season in Wilkes-Barre. It's just an amazing story. As now we see Mario Lemieux and Ron Burkle, the co-owners of this hockey team, making their way towards the stage. And Mario, after the game, somebody who doesn't do a whole lot of interviews, talked to Guy Junker, could not have been more eloquent and more emotional about what this team has accomplished.
Absolutely. You see Mario Lemieux and Ron Burkle coming down in that convertible right now. It takes some dollars. It takes cash to establish a team. And these guys, it doesn't just take money. It takes the right people. And you're seeing Mario Lemieux and Ron Burkle right now in that convertible. The city is so excited to see him. You can just see the people along the sides of the street of the Boulevard of the Allies taking them in and snapping a picture, because this is a moment. This is a Pittsburgh moment, and it is beautiful. They're so excited to see, and they know, these fans know what Mario Lemieux means to this team and to the city of Pittsburgh.
And I know a lot of fans wanted to see Mario up close, because they don't get that opportunity to all the time. And now, take a look. We've got the veterans coming here in the next truck. You've got Chris Kunitz.
Yeah.
Chris Kunitz, 36 years old. I think, did I see Evgeny Malkin on this truck? Oh, there's the belt. There's the belt from Triple H. We heard earlier that Triple H, if you're into wrestling, Triple H, the wrestler, gave the Penguins the belt for winning the championship. That's his wrestling championship belt. And there it is.
Chris Kunitz right there knows what it's like to win a Stanley Cup.
He does.
He's not a young man. He's 36 years old, but he's done this before, and he has been a very valuable member of this team going forward.
And there's Nick Bonino with the championship belt. I mean, that's going to get as much attention as the Stanley Cup with some of these fans, because a lot of people are into wrestling. And look at Bonino. He's got the GoPro on his head.
He's got the GoPro to take it on. You think he'll watch this back? He'll watch this back. That's an example of what these fans mean to the players. You know, Nick Bonino wants to see the fans just as much as the fans want to see him. They're just embracing each other.
I'm sorry, Ashant. This is also a special moment, because, you know, this team, they're all here. They're all assembled in one place. And we have to remember, this is probably the last time this group, at least until the ring ceremony, but publicly, will be the only time they're together as a group again prior to the ring ceremony. And here it is. Here it is. This is the Prince of Wales trophy, first coming down Boulevard of the Allies. This is given to the Eastern Conference champion. And once again, as Guy Junker mentioned, the Penguins, you know, the tradition is not to touch it, because you want the Stanley Cup.
Right.
Sidney Crosby said, look, forget tradition.
Wow.
You know, let me hold it. In fact, I think the year they won the Cup in 2009, he actually held it. So he held it, said, forget the jinx. Let's just enjoy the moment, which he did. But this is the Prince of Wales trophy for the Eastern Conference champion coming our way.
The Prince of Wales. And that's just an example of how many traditions there are with the sport of hockey and things like that. But at the end of the day, nothing about this is really magical. This comes down to sweat and blood and tears and hard work and strategy and really digging deep. You know, there's so much that goes along with it, and it's fun to talk about all those traditions, about what that means. The Prince of Wales trophy, but this is guys playing hard.
Well, you know, if you saw the schedule these guys put in on a daily basis, they get up early, they do the morning skate for an hour, they get dressed, do the skate, get off the ice, take a nap, come back to the arena later, play the hockey game. Some of these guys get on bikes after the hockey game, go home, sleep maybe 6-7 hours, get up and do it all over again.
Amazing.
It is a grueling schedule.
I think about how many calories they eat on game day. How many calories do they need to sustain that kind of energy over a game day? And I see it now. I got a visual on the Stanley Cup, ladies and gentlemen. Sidney Crosby hoisting it into the air as he likes to do. That is a beautiful moment right there. The Stanley Cup making its way down the streets of the city of Pittsburgh, the city of champions. Sidney Crosby is bringing it to these fans. The confetti is flying.
And Shannon, I don't know if you can see on the sides, all the people with their cell phones taking pictures. I mean, it's like a mass group of people, hands up in the air, taking photos with their cell phone cameras of Sidney and the Stanley Cup.
I'm not overstating this in saying that there are fans on the other side of the street from where I am with tears streaming down their faces. This is emotional. This is personal. This is Pittsburgh. Sidney Crosby raising it once again in the air with that Sidney Crosby smile, the captain of this team, the veteran leader.
You know, I know we have a mayor, but if Sidney wants to run, he's got a shot right now, because this is what it's all about. I mean, I'm looking at these fans. He's talking to them. They're talking to him. And you're right. Some of them are crying. They're emotional. It's like, that's the Stanley Cup. That is what it's all about.
That's it. It's right there. It's right in front of these fans. That's what they came down here to see. Some of them came here at midnight to see this. There are people on top of buildings right now to see the Stanley Cup, and they are just cheering him on. There are just smiles for days.
And you know, some people say the players say it's heavier than I thought it was. It's lighter than I thought it was. It's brighter than I thought it was. It is remarkable. Oh my goodness, look at this. It is just
Here comes number 13. Stay with me.
It is just incredible.
Bonino.
So with Sidney having the Stanley Cup, this is the end of the parade. So when he gets up there, and he'll be introduced along with the guest of honor today. And yes, Stanley is the guest of honor. And Sidney, I got to tell you, he's probably in really good shape right now, because he has had that over his head for a good part of this parade. Everybody's saying, hey, raise it, raise it.
You think that upper body strength?
Yeah, with apologies to the Pittsburgh Pirates, you can say raise it today.
You can say raise it.
Well, this is an incredible moment for the city of Pittsburgh, and we're glad you could join us this afternoon here on WTAE-TV and WTAE.com to witness it. And this is only the beginning, because when Sidney gets to the podium, we're going to start the entire program. Jeff Jimerson, who does the national anthem so well at Consol Energy Center, will do the national anthem and in fact invite everyone to sing along, as is his tradition. We'll hear from the dignitaries. We'll hear from the coaches, the CEO of the Penguins. We may hear from Mario. We'll hear from Crosby, and then each player will get a second to say what they want to at this amazing moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are witnessing history. You're witnessing sports history, Pittsburgh history, as we continue down the parade, the victory parade for the Stanley Cup champions for 2016. We talked about it before, 1991, 1992, 2 years in a row, and that was a powerful time for hockey in this city. Those first two Stanley Cups really legitimized Pittsburgh as a hockey town, with Mario Lemieux running this team and getting this team to this place, and then to come all the way so many years. So many fans really thought that the Penguins should have taken it or could have taken it, and they got so close. But it wasn't meant to be until 2009, and then again this year.
Well, what's special about this Stanley Cup is once they won that Stanley Cup, everybody thought that's the cup that makes them a contender year in and year out. They've had a lot of playoff disappointments, early playoff losses to the Rangers. I mean, there were people wondering and questioning whether this team actually had the tools to ever win the cup again.
Right.
Because they had so many opportunities where they were a much better hockey team going in than this one. What makes this cup special is they did it with guys that, frankly, halfway through the season weren't here. A team that came together kind of over the last couple of weeks. They did it with pieces that, you know, you couldn't expect to win a Stanley Cup, and they did it, and they won this cup. So I'm not saying this is the best Stanley Cup they've won. It's hard to rank them all, but without question, this is the one that kind of shows that this team can do it any way they want to. And right now, Sidney Crosby is taking the stage with Lord Stanley, hoisting it over his shoulder. And, oh my goodness, this is what everybody came to see. And on the stage right now, we have the Prince of Wales Trophy, we have the Stanley Cup, and we have the Conn Smythe Trophy, which is symbolic of the playoff most valuable player, and that, of course, is Sidney Crosby.
You think about all the other teams in the NHL who really thought they were going to win this, especially the San Jose Sharks. I know this is not about the folks that lost today. This is about the folks that won. But the San Jose Sharks are an excellent team, and they very easily, things could have turned very differently for them. And it just underscores it is not easy to bring a Stanley Cup home to your city. The things that you have to go through, and so many other teams, like you said, Andrew, looked much better on paper than maybe the Penguins did mid-year and mid-season. And to see the course of events that took place and the players that were added, the coach that was brought up, to be in position and what the team had to do. The really interesting game to me in this was Game 5, which was very difficult to watch here in Pittsburgh when you had the streets flooded. So many Pittsburghers, we want the sweetness of this victory, but we want the sweetness of the victory to be won here at home and what that would have meant to us. And I don't think anybody's complaining about that right now.
Well, I'll tell you, and I think that the players might even say this. I mean, there was a lot of pressure on them to win that game. In many ways, it was the most pressure-packed game, Game 5, the clinching game at home. Everybody talked about it. Everybody talked about 1960 and the Pirates. I think to win on the road, there's probably less pressure. And they were able to go out and play their kind of hockey game. Because you remember that start in Game 5, Matt Murray gives up 3 goals in the first period.
It was so painful.
I think there was an awful lot of nervousness, and I think that's what happened. But obviously, they were able to win on the road. Now they're back here. We are going to join this ceremony on stage when it begins. But once again, all the players are there. The hardware is there. We understand the Penguins' Paul Steigerwald, who does the games on television, will be your MC for the celebration. And once again, you'll have the national anthem by Jeff Jimerson. And then you will hear from a lot of people who have an awful lot to say about this championship, which took so long to finally happen. 7 years is a long time.
It is, no doubt. It is a long time. We've waited a long time for it. You talk about the fans who came out to see this team, and they've connected with so many people on the roster, so many new faces on the roster, and some of the veterans too. That is interesting to think about what's going to happen next season. These guys won't have too much of a rest this summer as they get ready for October when the new season starts up again. And so many of them are hopeful that a good chunk of the roster remains right here in Pittsburgh.
Well, some of these guys are playing in the World Championship, so
they've got more hockey to play.
More hockey. I mean, and camp opens in mid-September, so there's not a whole lot of time. All right, I think we're almost ready to start this ceremony. Here we go.
Now, since 1991, there's only one way
Pittsburgh wants to start a hockey game, and that's with Jeff Jimerson singing the national anthem. So what better way to kick things off than bringing up Mr. Jeff Jimerson to sing the national anthem.
Oh, sweet can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets wiggling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled
Thank you, Jeff. Now let me hand it over to your master of ceremonies, Staggy.
Hey, they tell me there's about 350,000 of you here. Thanks for coming. And welcome once again to Hockey Heaven. That's what we called it in 2009, and it's even more heavenly now. One of the world's greatest cities is without a doubt the world's greatest hockey town. Without a doubt, the world's greatest hockey town. We have the best hockey team in the world, led by the best hockey player in the world, owned by the greatest hockey player who ever lived, and one of the most successful businessmen in the world, supported by the best fans in the world, in numbers that most, if not all, American cities can only dream about. Our 4th Stanley Cup championship in 25 years. Pinch yourselves, Pittsburgh. Now, during the final, you were all chanting, "We want the cup." We're going to change that chant, and we want people to hear this all around the hockey world. We're changing it to "We won the cup." We won the cup. We won the cup. We won the cup. We won the cup. Let's hear And you guys were awesome all during the playoffs. You did Pittsburgh proud, folks. The way you behaved was really special. Stay classy, Pittsburgh. At this time, I'd like to introduce the CEO of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Pittsburgh's own David Morehouse.
Thanks, Staggy. Wow, can Pittsburgh put on a parade or what? I guess we're getting kind of used to it with all the championships around here. Truly, Pittsburgh is the city of champions. With the Penguins' 4 Stanley Cups, the Steelers' Super Bowls, and the Pirates' World Series, and more to come, Pittsburgh truly is the city of champions. I want to thank all the fans out there. I think there was more than 350,000, Staggy. I counted at least 500,000 on the way here. But I want to thank all the Penguin fans who came and supported us all throughout this year and throughout the other years. We couldn't have done it without your support. I also want to thank Ron Burkle and Mary Lemieux. There's no better owners in all the sports. Let's give them a round of applause. And we've been extremely fortunate in Pittsburgh, and we're extremely fortunate to have Jim Rutherford come here and be our general manager. Let's give Jim Rutherford a round of applause. And Jim Rutherford had the good sense to bring us Coach Sullivan, too. Let's give the coach a good round of applause. And let's not forget about these players. They're not only the best hockey players in the world, they're truly the best individuals and gentlemen in the world. You talk about keeping it classy, Staggy. I'm most proud of this team more than any other team I've seen. So I want to thank you very much. I want to thank the mayor and the county executive. I want to bring you guys up here and say a few words. Thanks for your support of the Penguins. Thanks for your support for this parade and for Pittsburgh sports and for making us truly the city of champions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. And I have just been notified by our public safety department that this is the largest crowd that has ever come out for any parade for Pittsburgh. I think David said it well. We're so proud of this team, and they represent Pittsburgh so well. 6 months ago, I think a lot of people would not have given them a big chance to be here today. But through teamwork and hard work and resilience, they represent this city, and they are now the champions of the world. And no bigger fan does this city and this team have than our mayor, who's been stressing us through all these games and has been a great champion and a hockey player, our mayor, Bill Peduto.
Thanks, Rich. Hey, guys, what a season. Thank you. And what a team. I mean, there's so many storylines to this team. All the different trades that were made, the rookies that came up, the veterans that have been there from the past, all pulling together as one. You gave us a great journey, guys. I hope you enjoy it. You earned it. And as a fan, I have to call out 4 people. You know, there's so many storylines, like I said, but without JR, this team doesn't get put together. You've now earned the respect that you got, and I'm so very proud of you. Pascal, you're the heart and soul of this team. And you make us all proud to be Pittsburghers. Marc-Andre, you're the MVP. You got us through this year when things weren't going wrong, and you were the rock of stability. And we're standing here because of you. And Coach, you brought a blue-collar work ethic to a blue-collar town that knows how to work, and you made it so that the sum of all these parts was greater by bringing them together, and you made us all so proud to cheer on this team. I said it to my friend last night. Mario will disagree with me. Best Pens team ever. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mayor Peduto, who has been a big Penguins fan since he was a little guy in Pittsburgh, played hockey, so he's not kidding around when he says he loves this Pittsburgh Penguins team and this Stanley Cup championship. Back in 1971, the Penguins had a goalie. He was 22 years old, the same age that Matt Murray is right now. And now he's the general manager of the Pittsburgh Penguins. A couple of guys in the office, kid, they call him the Sultan. And heretofore, he shall be known as the Sultan of Swap for the trades that he was able to make, bringing Trevor Daley and Carl Hagelin and Justin Schultz to the Penguins during the season, and of course all the other moves he's made to make this a championship team almost overnight. It's not easy to bring 11, even more than that, new faces to a team and have them quickly gel as this one did to turn into the best team in the National Hockey League by far. Let's welcome the only general manager in the modern era to win a Stanley Cup for two different teams, Jim Rutherford.
Thank you, Pittsburgh. We love you guys. Thanks for your support. Even when we started slow. We were slow at one time, but man, were we fast when we finished. We really thank you. If we get many more speakers up here, the total crowd's going to be up to about 1 million. So I don't know how many more we got coming, but we really thank you for your support. This team is really like Pittsburgh. You know, we had a very talented team, a lot of character, and a hard-working team. And it's really what you people are all about and what you people are like, and we can relate to that. But I want to congratulate the guys. What a great group of guys. They got the job done. We always believed we could, even when things were a little tough during the season. It's a great lesson for everybody here. Keep believing in whatever you do. If you keep believing, you can get it done. I want to say a special thanks to our owners, to Mario and to Ron. You know, that this is an ownership group that always provides the resources to give you the best team possible. And we're so lucky to have Mario and Ron. Thank you very much, guys. So anyways, enjoy the time. I'll try to make one deal with you. We'll try to meet here at this time next year. Thanks a lot.
In mid-December, Jim Rutherford decided to make a coaching change. He brought in a guy who immediately crystallized exactly what it was he saw that the Penguins needed to do as a team, and he delivered that message to his players on a daily basis till it sunk into the point where they became such a strong identity during the course of the season. We all know what that identity is. A menacing, relentless team filled with great speed and grit and will, and this team has really done that all under the direction of the leader of the pack. He learned very quickly that when you play against a team from Pittsburgh, you play the entire city. Here's Mike Sullivan.
Thanks, Steggy. Well, the one thing I've learned is this is one crazy sports town. And maybe even more crazy, this is one crazy hockey town. How about this group of players? I know you guys are as proud as them as our coaching staff is. This is a group that's been through a lot this year. The challenges that they've overcome to become the best hockey team in the world, we couldn't be more proud of them. Let me just say on behalf of the players, the coaching staff, the entire Pittsburgh Penguins organization, that we wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for the support of you fans. We can't tell you how appreciative we are. I think in the playoffs, in our home games, we stepped it up another notch. And we were overwhelmed in that Game 5. We tried to bring it home for you. We did our best. It didn't work. But let me tell you, one of the mottos of this group has been, we just play. And that's what we did. We went to San Jose and we just play. And we brought it home. We're so appreciative for your support. We know that we couldn't have done it without you. And we know that you're going to be there moving forward. And all I say is, let's do this again next year.
Okay, now it's time to bring up the guy who's won just about everything a hockey player could win, including 2 Stanley Cups here in the city of Pittsburgh and the Conn Smythe Trophy as the most valuable player in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Your captain, Sidney Crosby. Test 1, 2. You can use that mic. Now that you've had a couple of days to let it sink in, what does it really mean to you to have won this second cup here in 2016?
It means a lot. This is exactly how I remembered it. I think it's even bigger this time, but you guys are what make it so special to play here. It's a special town. Obviously, this group of guys, we wanted it bad. We were disappointed in Game 5. We didn't get it done. It wasn't a happy plane going to San Jose, but we knew we had to get it back here. So thanks very much for all your support. It's been an incredible run, and we're happy it's back in Pittsburgh.
Okay, one more thing, Sid. You heard the coach talking about just play. And the one thing that really stood out to me in watching you play in this run, especially in the finals, I saw Joe Thornton cross-check you, punch you twice in the head, knock your helmet off. You didn't even look at him. You just skated away. That was all part of the approach, wasn't it, for this team to just remain disciplined and just play?
Yeah, thanks.
He's still coaching them here, guys.
Yeah, no, that was our whole thing during the playoffs. That was our whole thing during the playoffs, just to make sure that we stuck together. It's tough to win this. You have to take a lot of hits, play through a lot of different things. Half our team was hurt all playoff long, and guys continue to fight through it. So we knew those are sacrifices you have to make, and it all worked out.
Okay, one more thing. I want to ask Sid one more question about being captain of this team. What was so special about being the captain of this particular team, Sid, as you built this winning team during the course of the year?
I think just what we went through. I think having gone through all that stuff early in the season, it wasn't easy. I think that we just stuck together. Everyone realized we had more to give, and we found a way. But yeah, it's a special group. When you're able to accomplish this, you need a lot of things to come together, and guys understood that, and we found a way.
They found a way, folks. Congratulations, Sid. Thank you so much. Sidney Crosby. We're bringing up 3 players now who combined for... Yeah, go ahead. They combined for 56 points during the playoffs, 11 during the Stanley Cup Finals. Let's bring them up. The HBK line.
Haggy and I just want to say what a pleasure it was to play with the legend, Phil Kessel.
Our pleasure. It's a true honor. No one's better than Phil. Phil the Thrill. Woo!
Phil Kessel's a Stanley Cup champion, baby! That's a picture worth a million words right there, folks. Okay, I'm going to test your linguistic skills now. I want to know if you can say bonino, 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 bonino about 5 times really fast. Let's try. 1, 2, 3. That was pretty good, but I'm going to bring up the guy who actually said that. The man from Punjabi hockey. He came all the way from Vancouver to be here for this event here today, so he could say bonino, 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 bonino in person. Here he is.
Bonino, 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 Nick Bonino! We just want to, on behalf of the entire Hockey Night in Canada Punjabi team, we want to thank the Pittsburgh Penguins fans everywhere in the world, the entire organization, the city of Pittsburgh for the love and support that you guys gave us throughout the players. It's been a very memorable Stanley Cup playoffs. Congratulations on winning the Stanley Cup, Pittsburgh and the fans. Thank you very much.
Okay, it's time now to introduce the man who has called all 4 Stanley Cup championships, the voice of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Mike Lang, the Hall of Famer, and the old 2-9er, Phil Bourque.
Well, before we get ready to go down and party on the river and have that special moment, I just would like to take a second to thank all the players, everybody in the Penguin organization for being so kind to us throughout the year. You could feel this coming, I thought, in the first round of the playoffs for the Pens, and it just got stronger and stronger and stronger. And I know I'll echo all the sentiment of the people here in this crowd. But if you have one more roar left in your body, let's hear it once again. 2016 Stanley Cup champions, the Pittsburgh Penguins. From head to toe, they made it happen. I like it. That's good. Spontaneous. Let's go, Pens! Just a quick side note to that. When we left the building in San Jose the other night, there were some stragglers around, and I was one of them. So the bus had come back from the hotel to pick us up. And everybody filed out, and there were a few players that were there. And the last one to come to the bus, carrying the cup, was Sidney Crosby. As we got to the bus, you could hear up a ramp in San Jose, you could hear fans chanting, "Let's go Pens, let's go Pens." Sid walked right by that bus, took the cup, went up the ramp, held it up. "Let's go Pens," and they were thrilled to death, Pittsburgh fans over there. That's your captain. He sees it, he gets it. And that's why you've got a champion team this year. Let's bring up the old 2-9er, get us in a party mood as we probably wind this down. Old 2-9er, Phil Bourque.
Thanks, Mikey. You guys are the most amazing fans, really. Think about it. 6 Super Bowls, 5 World Series, and now 4 Stanley Cups in our humble little corner here in southwestern Pennsylvania. Really. And you guys remember 25 years ago, down at the Point? You remember what happened? That was the first Stanley Cup. You remember the celebration? You guys want to do it one more time? Huh? Hold on, let me try to get something here. You guys remember the line? Take it down to the river and party all summer? I'll start it and you guys finish it, all right? What do you say we take this down to the river and party all summer?
Thank you all, and just one final thought if I can. During the playoffs, I used a new phrase on a goal call. And there's only one place in the entire country, or maybe the world, that would understand what jumbo is. So the line goes something like this, and we'll leave you. I told them after a goal was scored to start frying the jumbo, Homer. Extra crispy, please. Congratulate yourselves for being the greatest fans. Thank you.
We want to thank the Mayor's Office, City Parks, Department of Special Events, Department of Public Works, Department of Public Safety, the National Aviary, all the parade participants, and, of course, the greatest fans in hockey all over the world. People are noticing what great fans Pittsburgh has. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. One last time, can we have the players just come up and gather around the podium? Come on, all the way up here so we can have the cup up front. Come on, guys. Cully. Come on, boys. Right up here up front. Lift that cup up, Sid. One more time, the 2016 Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins.
Just a sea of Penguins fans here. Andrew and Shannon doing a wonderful job on our coverage right there in the heat of all of it. And look at that gorgeous shot here. The Stanley Cup hoisted above all the Pens fans. Well, you heard Allegheny County Chief Executive Rich Fitzgerald saying this is the largest parade we have ever seen in Pittsburgh. And think about it, the last time Sidney Crosby did this in 2009, there were 375,000 people in downtown Pittsburgh, to put that all into perspective. Let's go back to Shannon and Andrew.
Janelle, it was interesting that Sidney Crosby is so soft-spoken that even today they had to kind of pump his mic up when he was speaking. He just does not want to take credit for this team. And his teammates, obviously, and the fans want to give him so much credit for bringing the Stanley Cup back to Pittsburgh.
Well, you want to talk about soft-spoken. Phil Kessel.
Yeah.
Not a word.
Didn't say a word.
But for him to raise that trophy in front of this crowd and finally be a Stanley Cup champion, everybody fed off that energy. Marc-Andre Fleury, huge applause today for what he did. Really, this was a classy event from start to finish. The people who really had an impact acknowledged for what they did. It was just a remarkable day, and one I think the city of Pittsburgh will not forget for some time.
The mayor of Pittsburgh called Marc-Andre Fleury the MVP of this team, and everything that he's gotten this team through over the past few seasons here in Pittsburgh and on the road, and just battling and battling and battling for this beautiful, beautiful win of the Stanley Cup championship right now. And we've got, you know, the team still kind of making its way. You can see that behind us. They are one by one hoisting it up into the air and getting their pictures taken right here in the heart of the city of Pittsburgh, right on the Boulevard of the Allies.
And the boulevard is still full. As we look back, you know, towards the east, it is packed full of people. I mean, this crowd was just amazing. It was like 30, 40, 50 deep. Nobody left. Everybody stayed through the whole thing, enjoyed it, yelled and screamed, cheered, chanted. How about the loud chant of "We Want the Cup"?
Right.
Inspired by, you know, Paul Steigerwald, the MC today. It was just a remarkable day, a celebration. And as Jim Rutherford said, wouldn't it be great if a year from now we could come back here and do it all over again?
Yeah, Jim Rutherford, the GM, saying, yeah, let's do this again next year. Let's schedule sometime in mid-June to come back and do this again. He wasn't the only one that's looking towards the future. Mike Sullivan, the head coach, said, yeah, very simply, let's just do this again, please.
And the other nice thing, too, you have Penguins from the past. You had Phil Bourque up there, who reminded us 25 years ago. He said, hey, let's take this cup down the river and party all summer long. There were so many former Penguins. I saw Mark Recchi here today. You saw Bill Guerin, who still works with the organization. organization. So this is a championship not just for the current Penguins, not just for the city now, but really for a time before. And all the people who have worked hard and made this moment happen, they were able to celebrate today.
You know, we love watching hockey games in the city of Pittsburgh. The fans of Pittsburgh and the Pittsburgh Penguins love to watch the action. They love to watch the ins and outs and the drama unfold on the ice. But what's really special is when you can have a parade, when your city can be the one celebrating the Stanley Cup championship. It's so sweet.
And the celebration will not end here because, as we mentioned, the Cup is going to be around town this summer. A lot of the players are going to be sharing it maybe here in town. Some will take it to where they live and where they grew up. But you will see the Cup make some visits, surprise visits around town as this celebration continues. I mean, this crowd cannot get enough of this. In fact, they're ready to start the next season.
Yeah, they absolutely are, and they're already looking forward to it. They're buying their gear. I want to echo what Mayor Peduto said here on the stage, is that the Pittsburgh Penguins really reflect how we kind of identify as the city of Pittsburgh. We're still identified as a blue-collar, hard-working, digging deep kind of city that pulls itself up from its bootstraps. When you talk about overcoming adversity in a city that has lost industry and rebounded in leaps and bounds that we have in the city of Pittsburgh, it's a really interesting parallel when you talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins and where they were mid-season.
And also, I mean, the coach himself, as you heard, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, thanks to this head coach who came up here mid-season and really changed the culture and the thought pattern of this hockey team, a team that really needed someone to take them in that direction. I guess the talent was always here. You had to add a few pieces, but you need a leader to make it happen, and Mike Sullivan did. And you noticed he was in the back of the podium, wearing a T-shirt, shades on. If you didn't know any better, you just assume he might be one of the equipment guys because he is so reserved and somebody who doesn't want the attention. But I think you could say it really about anybody on this hockey team.
And that's one of the wonderful things and endearing things about this team is there isn't one person on this team who is bombastic and wants to take any of the credit here. They really did work as a team, and they communicated as a team. And here on this stage, on the Boulevard of the Allies in downtown Pittsburgh, they celebrated as a team. You know, we in Pittsburgh, you know, if you've been here long enough, you know that it's a special place. And people around the world will ask us why, what makes it so special. Our sports teams that are championships are certainly a part of that fabric. And, you know, today we got to see one of the reasons why Pittsburgh feels so special.
And let's not forget that surprise appearance by Hockey Night Punjabi.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, what did they say?
Benino, 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 Benino. How'd I do?
You did fantastic. That got one of the biggest applause of the night. See, if you're one of those people who actually, you know, kind of follows social media and knows about that, I mean, that was a huge deal to have them here today.
Yeah, and we need to explain what that is if our viewers don't know. You know, so in Canada, there's a huge Indian population who follows hockey very closely, and they have a broadcast team for Punjabi television who followed all the hockey teams in the NHL very closely. But of course, they're covering the Stanley Cup championship, Pittsburgh Penguins, and their coverage was phenomenal. And it was seen in Canada, it was seen all over the world, it was seen back in India too. And their one announcer made famous that line for Benino, who has emerged as a true champion on this team.
Can you say it again, please?
Benino, 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 Benino.
Next season on Hockey Night Punjabi.
He won't do it. He won't do it. Takes skills.
But really, just a wonderful afternoon. The weather could not have been better. Fans are now beginning to file out of here, leaving the area of Stanwix and Boulevard of the Allies and making their way to their vehicles. Traffic is going to be a little bit backed up leaving the city this afternoon, so don't expect anybody who is down here today to get home anytime soon.
Talk about a good vibe in the city of Pittsburgh, the city of champions. There's a reason we call Pittsburgh the city of champions, and we're talking about the vibe, the mood, the energy, just the explosion of joy here in downtown Pittsburgh as these fans have come from far and wide. They really wanted to be here, and if they didn't come, they watched us here on WTAE and Pittsburgh's Action News 4 as we've been honored to walk you along the parade route, the history, the current joy just spilling over into the streets. So much Penguins gear, so much love. Everybody is just strangers coming together, people who've never met before. It's hot outside. People have waited a long time, hours and hours, just to experience this moment in history.
And right now, the team is making its way towards the buses with the hardware as they're headed back to the starting point of the parade and to points unknown at this point. Some may be going home, some may be sticking around here. We're not sure who's going to have the cup first and where they're going to take it. But no doubt throughout the course of the summer, you will see the Cup appearing in places not just around the United States, but all over the world. I would say Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia is going to have a day with the Cup.
That's right. That's right. Finland, Sweden, Russia.
Connecticut?
Connecticut. even as far away as Hartford, Connecticut.
So it's going to be a fun summer. But today has been a wonderful afternoon, and we're so glad you could join us for this celebration of hockey, of champions, of the city of Pittsburgh, and the spirit of the city of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, a beautiful year, a beautiful season. Pittsburgh's Action News 4 wants to say thank you to the city of Pittsburgh and all the fans, and we also want to say thank you to the Pittsburgh Penguins. You made this season great. Back to you.
All right, and I think Staggy said it best. He said, when you play Pittsburgh, you play against the whole town, and I think the fan turnout today really proved that that was the case. Thanks so much for tuning in to our coverage of the Penguins Parade. We've got all kinds of wonderful pictures on social media, our mobile app, and also at WTAE.com. Join Shannon and Andrew again tonight at 5, and have a great rest of your day.
This has been a presentation of Pittsburgh's Action News 4. We now join our regularly scheduled programming already in progress.